Hello and welcome to this video. Today, we're diving into the fascinating and complex life of Joseph Colombo, the founder of the Colombo crime family. Colombo wasn't just a mafia boss. He became an outspoken civil rights activist for Italian Americans. His story is a rare mix of crime, activism, and tragedy, ending in a shocking shooting during a civil rights rally. Joseph Anthony Colombo was born on June 16, 1923, in Brooklyn, New York. He grew up in an Italian-American neighborhood deeply connected to organized crime. His father, Anthony Colombo, was part of the Professi crime family, one of the 5 families of the New York Mafia, and the predecessor to the Colombo family. After serving in World War II, Joseph returned to New York and gradually got involved in mafia activities. By the early 1960s, internal conflict rocked the Professi family. This power struggle, called the First Colombo War, led to chaos and bloodshed across the city. In 1964, after the death of Joseph Professi, Colombo took over the family at just 41 years old, becoming the youngest mafia boss in New York. He ended the internal war and renamed the organization after himself, the Colombo Family. Unlike most mob bosses who stayed in the shadows, Colombo embraced the spotlight. He appeared in public and became known for his calm, strategic leadership. He wanted to control not just the mafia, but also the public narrative around Italian Americans. In 1970, Colombo launched the Italian-American Civil Rights League. He claimed the government unfairly targeted Italian Americans and wanted to end the mafia stereotype. His bold move blurred the line between criminal leader and civil rights activist. Colombo used the League to gain public support and challenge law enforcement. He argued that being Italian didn't make someone a criminal. Many Italian Americans, tired of being stereotyped, rallied behind him and saw him as a hero for their community. The Italian Unity Day rally, held in Columbus Circle in 1970, drew a massive crowd of over 50,000 people. It was a bold show of strength, unity, and pride. Colombo stood proudly on stage, addressing the crowd with powerful words about equality and respect. Colombo's activism wasn't just limited to rallies. He also took on Hollywood. When producers began making The Godfather, he demanded they remove the words Mafia and Cosa Nostra, saying these terms fueled negative stereotypes. Surprisingly, the producers agreed. Colombo's pressure led to changes in the script, showing his influence went far beyond the criminal underworld. He was reshaping how the world viewed Italian Americans, using both fear and persuasion. But Colombo's public image brought both admiration and enemies. Many in the mafia were uneasy with his exposure and activism. They believed he was attracting too much attention, making law enforcement more aggressive toward all the families. Despite the risks, Colombo didn't back down. He planned a second Italian Unity Day rally for June 28, 1971. But this time, something deadly was waiting for him, a moment that would shock the nation and change everything. June 28, 1971, Columbus Circle was packed once again with thousands of supporters. Flags waved, speeches echoed, and the atmosphere was full of pride. But in the crowd was a man no one expected, Jerome A. Johnson, carrying a gun, waiting for his moment. As Colombo stood at the podium, preparing to speak, Johnson suddenly pulled out the gun and fired. 3 shots hit Colombo at close range. Chaos erupted. Screams filled the air and Colombo collapsed to the ground. Colombo's bodyguards reacted instantly. They gunned down Johnson on the spot, killing him before he could escape. But the damage was done. Colombo was critically wounded and rushed to the hospital. Colombo survived the shooting, but just barely. He was paralyzed and fell into a coma where he remained for the next 7 years. He never fully recovered and died in 1978. The motive behind the shooting remains debated. Some say Johnson acted alone, hired by unknown individuals. Others believe Joe Gallo's faction, which bitterly opposed Colombo, orchestrated the attack. With Colombo incapacitated, his family lost its firm grip on power. Internal conflicts reignited, and the Colombo family entered a period of instability. Colombo's bold activism had come at a heavy price, one paid with blood and betrayal. The Italian-American Civil Rights League also began to fade. Without Colombo's leadership, its momentum slowed. Supporters grew divided. Some remained loyal. Others feared association with organized crime. Law enforcement intensified their crackdowns on Mafia activity. Colombo's public activism had drawn the spotlight, and now the government was watching every move. Wiretaps, arrests, and court cases followed. Colombo's vision was never fully realized. He tried to create a world where Italian Americans were respected, free from both prejudice and criminal suspicion, but his ties to the Mafia made that dream nearly impossible. His dual identity confused the public. Was he a protector of his people, or a criminal using activism as cover? Historians still debate whether Colombo was sincere or simply manipulating the moment. For many Italian Americans, Colombo was a symbol of pride and defiance. He stood up when others stayed silent. Even if controversial, he forced America to notice and respect a community often pushed aside, but for others, his methods did more harm than good. He blurred the lines between criminality and justice, dragging real civil rights efforts into a world of corruption. In the end, Colombo left behind a complicated, conflicted legacy. Colombo's shooting changed the Mafia forever. His fall disrupted the five families and shifted the power dynamics in New York. No other boss after him would try to mix organized crime with public activism so boldly. After his death in 1978, the Colombo family splintered. New leaders rose, but none with the influence or charisma of Joseph Colombo. The family would soon face more internal wars and further decline. Still, his Italian-American Civil Rights League left a mark. Even though it faded, it sparked conversations about identity, pride, and discrimination. He gave voice to a generation of Italian Americans caught between cultures. Colombo was a paradox, a mob boss who craved justice. His actions challenged the norms of both the Mafia and the American public. Love him or hate him, he was unforgettable. His story reminds us that history is rarely black and white. It's full of blurred lines, complex choices, and human contradictions. Colombo lived in the gray between justice and crime, loyalty and ambition. Thank you for watching. If you found this story fascinating, please like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth documentaries on complex historical figures. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think about Joseph Colombo's legacy.